right, we're at the stage where we're ready to start replacing some stuff. Finally, everything came in the mail. I've got it kind of just laid out here so you can see. Got, I guess, whatever kind of coil this is that's going to replace this guy. We've got 10 microfarad 250 volt capacitors here that'll go where this guy is, and then the smaller one here is the 3 microfarad 250 volt. We've got these 10 ohm 10 watt resistors that are gonna replace this guy here. It's a little bit bigger obviously, but we'll try to make it work. And then this is one of the crossovers that came on one of my original HPM-100s, and luckily I had just one spare HPM-100, and I was able to swap this out. But this guy being blown, when I hooked the speaker up to the stereo, it was, as soon as I even cut it up even remotely high, very low volume, the stereo would go into protection. So, and I'm pretty sure that's why. So we got these guys here that'll replace those. And so at this point it looks like I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws, I guess, to get this off of the back side here of the post, so we can actually get to the solder joints. And it looks like this guy stays, and this guy stays, and this guy stays, and everything else obviously gets replaced. So I'll start disassembling here, and I'll show you what the back side looks like once I get this thing apart. Alright, got the coil on, and everything looks pretty good. I had a conversation with a guy from the time I got everything on but the coil up until I got home and was able to put this coil on. And one thing that we talked about was all the glue that was on, that I had to heat up and then pry off. And because this is like a beginner's deal, most guys that have done this several times or have dealt with components like this probably already know. But what we discussed is that obviously the glue has a purpose, and it's not just to necessarily keep things in their own space, but just mainly to keep them from moving. Obviously with the speaker and the amount of air that's moving, if any of these components are moving, it's going to cause an audible difference in the sound that you may be able to actually be able to hear. So I did make a point of gluing everything. I've got a layer of glue here between these two, and I've got glue at different spots on the coil here, and I even put some underneath this guy to keep it still. This right here is so small it's not going to move, but this is ready to put back in. I have a spare HPM mat here, and if you'll notice, I do have the super tweeter. It's on the bench there, but that mid-range and tweeter obviously are not original, but this is, like I said, it's a spare speaker. I bought this from someone in a trailer park actually, and for like 20 bucks, so I couldn't turn it down. And this crossover here is actually not the one that came out of that. This spare speaker saved me, because the pair of HPMs I bought that are in the house actually had this one, and this component here, which I've already forgot it, but this little chiclet guy here had completely exploded. So I was able to take the one out of this speaker and put that one in the one in the house, and I decided just to hang on to this one for this very reason, just to swap these components out. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in to that speaker, and then we'll go ahead and take it for a test run and make sure everything works. And if this one works and sounds good, then I'm going to put this one in one of the ones in the house, take that one out, and then rebuild it. And then I've only bought enough components, 2 sets of components, so if I decide to have the third one on hand, I'll have to order all these again, just as a single pieces. But I didn't want to order any more than just the 2 sets, or the 1 set, until I knew for sure everything was going to work out all right. So I'm hoping this coil is not going to give me any problem, because it's a lot bigger around in diameter. So hopefully I can get this back in the hole. So we'll see. All right, so just to pretty much round this out, I feel like this is a success as far as it went, especially for a rookie like me. The only thing I have a problem with, and I can probably live with it, is I'm gonna have to, you can see where they notched out up here for the old coil, but because this coil is that much bigger, I've already got the bottom part of the plate in the hole just to even get it this close. So I'm probably gonna have to just take something and trace that out. I may end up losing that screw hole, but at the end of the day, if that's what I gotta do, it's what I gotta do. I don't think I could have put the coil any deeper because, sorry about that, because then you see that screw right there, that's the negative binding post, and if I push that coil down any further, I'm not gonna be able to get that screw in to get that binding post back in place. And as you can see, the bottom part of the plate allows you to go down in first, and just with a little nudge there, that goes in, but it just hits right there. So I'll probably just won't do it with this one just yet, because this is just my test rig here. So whichever speaker I go with first in the house, I'll just have to notch that out just a little bit, and we should be good to go. I've tried every which way, and there's just, once you get this started in the hole, there's not a whole lot of wiggle room left or right, at least as far as helping the situation. So but all in all, I'm pretty happy. I can definitely tell the treble has come down. Before I do, it's so hard out here in the garage, the acoustics are horrible, and it's just the one. I've got a normal set of speakers in here I use, which are these humongous Techniques. They're 15-inch, but the acoustics in here are terrible. So once I get this and one of the HPMs that I have inside, I'll give it a good week or so maybe of listening to it and see if I'm okay with it. And if it seems like it's not enough treble for some reason, at least to my ears, then I may just hold off on putting the other set in and just maybe ordering factory replacements instead of this modification. So, but other than that, like I said, so far it didn't sound too bad out here, so we'll see. I'll give some listening impressions later on once I get this in the house. Thanks.